Hello everyone and welcome to WGBS TV Live, brought to you by SupermenHomepage.com, the #1 Superman fan site in the world. My name is Steve Eunice. In this, our January 29, 2019 show, we're going to be covering a range of topics including Reign of the Superman, the latest Supergirl episode titled Blood Memory. We're going to be talking about upcoming Krypton stuff as well, and latest comic books. We'll also be turning to you to take your questions and comments on any particular Superman topic you would like to discuss. And to let you know how all that works, how you can get involved in tonight's show, let me introduce you to my co-host, Mr. Michael Bailey. Hey, Mike.
Hey, Steve. Now, since WGBS Live is all about Superman, we want to hear from the Superman fans that are watching with us live on Facebook. So around the halfway mark of the show, and if we don't have too much on the docket, we'll start taking your calls. To do this, you'll need Skype. Go get on Skype, find Superman homepage, and message us that you'd like to be part of the show. Now, I do need to remind you that you need to message us first, because just calling us can sometimes screw up the call. And, if you do get on, turn down the volume of your speakers, because there's a delay and all that, because of my constant swearing. So...
Yes, indeed. Welcome to the show, and thank you to our sponsor and patron, Douglas Meacham. We appreciate his support. And for those of you tuning in live via Facebook to watch tonight's show, below or next to that video, we invite you to post your comments and ask questions, and Michael and I will keep an eye on those comments and react to them as the show continues. And there's plenty of people in there already, thanks to Brad, Mark, Tina, Timothy, John, and others. We appreciate you tuning in from the beginning of the show, and hope others will join us as the hour continues. Well, Mike, it's been a busy week. What's been happening in your world?
Just prepping a couple things for the homepage that I'm writing, and today I went to Target and picked up the steel book of the Reign of the Supermen. Nice. Superman. It's like Phil Spiderman. I just happened to go to Target because I didn't want to go to Walmart, so that was the big deciding factor in getting this. It's a, probably hear it. It's a pretty sturdy construction. I like the front. Probably not going to be able to see it too clearly. This back bothers me because I think that's a pretty lousy image. I don't like the ship, and Superman looks like he's the front man for the band that went on before Creed back in like 2002. So, but I'm really excited. I'm going to download it to my phone to watch it at work, and I'll have my review to you by the end of the week.
Cool. Looking forward to that, and my review of the animated movie and the Blu-ray bonus materials on the website as well. So looking forward to your reactions, because obviously you're a massive fan of this era of the comic book. So waiting with bated breath to see what your feelings are on the, whether it jives with what you remember or what you think the story should be about.
Yeah, that was the most asked question of me today on social media and of my friends of what did I think of it, and it was just like, I haven't seen it yet. So now I'm really nervous, but I'm sure I'll enjoy it on some level. I'm actually really also interested in looking at the Lex Luthor featurette that they have with it, because that usually the features that they've had on these lately have been pretty good. So I'm kind of interested in checking that out and seeing what the doesn't have it on there. What the two cartoons they have with it.
I think I wrote that in my review. I can quickly have a look for you if you like. The featurettes are pretty good. You've got guys like Bruce Timm and John Bogdanov. I think that's how you pronounce his name. Who are interviewed for the featurette. So just trying to do a search on my quick. So you've got the two animated Heavy Metal and Panic in the Sky from Justice League Unlimited.
So two steel heavy episodes. That makes sense.
Mm-hmm. So, and the Blu-ray is out today, January 29th. It's also available to DC Universe subscribers right now on your digital streaming service. So, that's a massive inclusion, really, because you don't have to spend any more to watch this animated movie. It's there for you in your digital streaming service that you're already subscribed to. So that's pretty nifty. And last night, there in New York, the New York premiere took place, and our own T.A. Hewitt was there on the red carpet and at the Q&A, interviewing the cast and crew. And that video is up on our website as well. So if you want to check out, it's about a 16-minute video of all the interviews that he conducted on the red carpet, including Jerry O'Connell in this very spiffy Superman suit. What did you make of that?
I thought it was great. The fact that he has just steered into this skid. There's the pictures of him recording in the Superman shirt, and he's, really kind of embraced, just playing the part and all that. And it just makes me laugh because there's a certain bit of, I don't want to call it irony because it's not ironic, but when I was 12, 13 years old, Saturday nights, Superboy would come on. Mm-hmm. And right after Superboy was My Secret Identity for 3 years. So now that weekend thing has come together into one thing with him playing Superman. But no, it looks like he's kind of wearing PJs almost.
I've got PJs exactly like that.
But no, he had I'm assuming he had this made, and he's still in relatively good shape. So that's more power to him, man. If he wants to walk around, it's certainly cold enough here in the States right now to wear that kind of thing and not melt.
Yeah. And that's his wife sitting next to him. She plays Rebecca Romaine. She plays Lois Lane, the voice of Lois Lane in this animated adaptation. So I guess the chemistry was there between the two of them, and would have been interesting to see some behind-the-scenes footage if they actually filmed their lines together or recorded their lines together, or like most recording artists do, whether they recorded separately. It's really interesting to hear the interviews or watch the interviews on our website and our YouTube channel. So thanks to TA for doing those. And by all accounts, it was a pretty chaotic night, but enjoyable nevertheless.
Wow, that's I'm gonna have to check that out then. If it was chaotic, I wonder if somebody got really drunk in the middle of the movie and started screaming at the screen or whatever. But no, it's just the fact that they actually had a red carpet premiere for this is, it's not, out of the realm of possibility because DC has done this with a lot of their animated films over the past couple of years. But most of those films were Batman related, so it was just kind of cool getting Superman to do it.
Yeah, well, let's watch a little bit of a sneak peek from Reign of the Supermen that was posted on the on YouTube on the DC channel, I believe.
Just like you would any new product. But so far, all you've managed to do is preen, gallivant, and... Stop that.
Where's Mercy?
Still in traction, thanks to you. Have you seen the newspapers?
Yeah, I see them all over the place.
Have you read them?
Oh, right on. This really reflects more on you.
Do you know what they're calling you? Superboy.
But I'm Superman.
They didn't get the memo.
So there you have it, a bit of a scene between Lex and Superboy in the back of the limo from a part in the movie, and that's one element of the film that I think you'll enjoy, Michael, is the Lex-Superboy relationship.
That's, if you're not going to introduce Rex Leach, I guess that's a pretty... And to be fair, in the comics, he actually did make a bid for Superboy before Rex kind of undercut him on that. So thank you for coming to my TED Talk about Reign of the Supermen. So.
All right, well, so that's Reign of the Superman. Looking forward to seeing your review on the website in the coming days. And, it's out there now. As I said, it's on Blu-ray to purchase today. It's also on the DC Universe digital streaming service. So interested to see some of the fans' reactions and our upcoming Big Question segment, which we will talk about shortly. Will have a Reign of the Superman flavour to it. But in other movie news, a new behind-the-scenes, a previously unseen photo of Henry Cavill shot during the filming of Justice League was posted on Instagram this week, and it's not anything really special. It's obviously good to see him smiling and good to see another thing of the suit, photo of the suit. But most of the comments were about the guy in the background who looked like Wolverine.
Yeah, that dude kind of... It's like, what if Liev Schreiber, who was actually Sabretooth, played Wolverine, like, back in the 90s. So, but yeah, there's... Why do we continue showing behind-the-scenes photos of a movie that came out, like, 2 years ago? I really don't understand this, or a year ago. I forget what is it 2020 yet? I'm kind of confused. But no, I mean, it's kind of cool, but at the same time, I don't like. Are they just trying to kind of keep interest in Henry as Superman until they figure out what they're going to do? I mean, I just don't get it. I really don't.
Yeah, I don't know what's going to happen there. Henry is in the middle of filming his new Netflix series, The Witcher, or movie, The Witcher. So he's busy at the moment, and I believe I saw today Zack Snyder announced a new film that he's going to be producing. So everyone's busy except doing Superman stuff.
Yeah, see, apparently he's going back to his zombie roots. So that's going to be kind of interesting.
All right, well, let's move into the segments that we do at the last Tuesday of the month, being the Big Question and Super Secret Soundbite. And let me start off with the Big Question. I'll just play the intro right now.
Let's start with the big question.
All right, so the big question from last month was... what Superman Christmas presents did you get? It's been a month since Christmas. It's hard to remember that it was already a month ago, but we had a number of people respond to this, and the first off was Tina Murray, who's listening live right now. She says, "My mother bought me a life-size cardboard cutout of Man of Steel Superman. I left to go to the store, and my husband had a little grin on his face and showed me this flat, large box and said, 'Open this because I can't wait to see your face when you open it.' I opened it and pulled out Superman and was rendered speechless. I was not expecting that at all and absolutely love it. My mother nailed it. I immediately called her and thanked her for an awesome gift." So thank you, Tina. That's pretty cool.
Ron Crosby wrote, "I hope you all had a super Christmas. I had a great Christmas. My wife and son got me a Krypton lifting team shirt, the one that Cavill wore while doing that strange post on his Instagram, for those that would forgive me for not saying Instagram. And hoodie, love it, and pre-ordered the Hot Toys Justice League Superman. Nice. As a huge Cavill fan, I can't wait to get that. That is
very nice. Yes, very cool. Henry Bernstein, who's usually one of our listeners, I don't see him watching at the moment. So
I saw him earlier.
Yeah, he says, "I don't celebrate Christmas. I'm Jewish, but I celebrate Hanukkah. I mentioned this last year in response to this question that there are many winter solstice holidays that invoke gift giving. Anyway, a friend who lives in Japan found an original Japanese Superman, the movie, and sent it to me. It's in perfect condition and gorgeous. Happy New Year, guys." Thank you, Henry. And yes, there's obviously other celebrations out there at that time of the year for gift giving. So we apologise just for singling out Christmas, but we appreciate your response there.
John Patrick Van Pelt wrote, "My sister Megan gave an excellent Christmas gift this year by donating some of her own money to the Superman homepage to support their goal." Yes, when we appreciate that, Megan. We're really appreciative of all our patrons, and thank you to John and Megan for their support of the Superman homepage. All right, Michael, what's our new big question for this month? Well, shockingly, given that it just came out, what did you think of the Reign of the Superman animated movie? Yes, let us know what you thought of the animated movie by getting involved in the Big Question segment of our show. You'll find the Big Question feedback form under the Contact Us or Contact menu at the Superman homepage website, and you can send your entry in and we'll read out those all at the final Tuesday of February. You can also record your answer as an MP3 or a video if that's something you'd like to do, and we'll play it here on
WGBS TV Live, as I said, at the end of February. So get involved with the Big Question segment of our show. And we'll move on now to the super secret soundbite. And here is the intro.
Only one thing alive with less than 4 legs can hear this frequency, Superman, and that's you.
And last month we had a sound come from the animated movie Superman Unbound. Let's hear it again right now.
You don't really know these worlds. You only know your safe, bottled versions of them.
Yes, that was the sound. Who got it right this year, this month, this year? Well, it is this new year, but anybody get it right?
No. Nobody did, oddly enough. Nobody guessed it correctly. So apparently we've made this month's sound a little easier.
Yes, I think you'll have no problem guessing where in the world of Superman this new super secret soundbite comes from.
It's actually probably a bit safer. Oh. A study out of Harvard last year said that women respond better than men under competitive pressure. Oh, we are better in a crisis.
There you go. Do you think you know where in the world of Superman that sound comes from? If so, use the super secret soundbite entry form found at the Superman homepage under the Contact Us menu at the Superman homepage, and we will read out the names of everybody who guessed it right at the end of February when we return to these segments later next month.
I'm getting the feeling that I'm like one of the few people that actually watched Superman Unbound. It doesn't seem to be one of the animated films that pops up on anybody's lists, or nobody really seems to even really talk about it.
Yeah,
which is kind of odd because I really liked it. I thought it was an excellent film, but maybe it'll be rediscovered on the DC app.
Yes, indeed. So get involved with our segments from this month, and we will have those segments returning at the end of February. Alright, well, let's push on with TV news. And Supergirl's episode 11 of season 4 aired on Sunday night there in the US and Monday night here in Australia. And it was titled Blood Memory. And Michael, you really enjoyed this episode, giving it a 4 out of 5 in your review.
Yeah, I enjoyed most of this episode. I thought Nia's story was really powerful. It was one of those things where after I got done watching the episode, I was just kind of sitting there for a moment, and I was just thinking, especially since I was talking to a friend who feels very close to the character, that this is a character that really actually means something to people. And the fact that they took the time to kind of show her background, and they've talked about how inclusive her family was and how supportive, but all throughout the episode I'm like, yeah, this isn't going to end well. There's going to be a major blow up between her and her sister. And then her sister said the thing that I assumed her sister was going to say. And it was just like one of those moments like, wow, this is something that happens to people. This is something that, we're talking about aliens and, people with precognitive powers and extra, like apparently they found a script from Smallville season 4, lying around with the super steroids and all that. And they managed to actually make that really believable and really human, and actually made, kind of flesh Nia out, which is something that I think has kind of been needed. Unfortunately, everything with Kara and Alex felt so forced and like overly dramatic, so that part of it I wasn't really down with, but most of the other part of the episode was really, really good.
Yeah, it's interesting. I actually felt the Alex Supergirl parts, especially towards the end there. Anthony in the comments is saying that it was ridiculous that she was standing 2 feet from her and didn't recognise that Kara is Supergirl. I guess that's the whole point, is that they've erased any idea, that from her memory. So there's no connection there for her. She knows Kara. She grew up with Kara. So the fact that there's no memory of her being Supergirl makes all the sense in the world that Alex wouldn't recognise her as being Supergirl, because that's something that you would know about your sister. So, the similarities in the look wouldn't necessarily kind of jog anything or kind of make any connection there for her. So I believe that part of it, and I felt really, badly for both Alex and Kara, in this situation, because there's obviously a disconnect there now that, Kara is really missing out on having Alex there the way that she remembers her, and Alex has just kind of changed, her personality has changed somewhat because she doesn't have that soft spot for aliens who are out of their, out of their own world kind of thing, and in a tough spot. So I kind of believe that. It didn't bother me that so much as it obviously did for you. As far as the Nia story was concerned, they didn't make it exactly clear early on. If you weren't really listening, or you weren't really, up on what trans means as far as the terminology and what it actually means, you might not have got the fact that she wasn't born a girl. I don't think that was necessarily really spelt out that clearly from the point of view of, for the story. At the end, you really understood it, and kind of they hammered it home with that comment that her sister made. But I don't think they made it abundantly clear early on until the very end that she wasn't born a girl. As in
the
genetically.
The conversation in the car. I think when she was talking about they helped me transition, and I always knew. So maybe they were hoping that was enough.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I've got it, but
people.
I don't.
Yeah.
If you're a bit younger, maybe, and a lot of younger people do watch this, they might not have clued on straight away or really understood what it meant.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I guess maybe it's because I do have more of an idea of that whole thing.
And we've been reporting on it all along that the actress is trans, that this character was that way. But if you're not reading stuff, and I guess who isn't these days reading on the internet and finding out stuff, then you might not have understood where that was going. But I think by the end of the episode, it was hammered home that this was the case.
Going back to the Alex thing for just a second, here's my question. She was very cold towards Supergirl at the end of the episode. And they had that whole confrontation where the little sister had taken the steroids or the drugs that made her bulk up. And Supergirl was trying to save the alien, and the alien was trying to help the girl, but Alex was just concerned about the girl. And I don't get why. So, does she not know that Jon is an alien? Because wouldn't working with an alien, for as long as she did, kind of, make her a little more sympathetic? And that whole speech is just like, I get why they did it. It was just like, when you feel so weak and all that. But Alex, what I think it's done is it's kind of suggested that Alex is, as for lack of a better term, kick-ass as she is because she always felt like she was kind of somewhat inferior to Kara. And I never saw that as part of her personality. So that's another thing I kind of said in the review, and I still kind of feel this way, that the whole thing with the drugs that make you bulk up, that felt like total Freak of the Week Smallville. And so the drama between the two of them felt very like Smallville as well. And I'm kind of glad they didn't resolve it in this episode, even though because they're usually really quick about resolving these things. And are going to continue with it on, because it's really making the season interesting, because not only has Kara lost the DEO, she's now lost her sister to a certain extent. So it's really one of those seasons where everything is being taken away from her. The one thing I wish they would do is get on with this Russian Supergirl thing already, because it's just like these little 2-minute teases. God, I hope it's worth it. I really do.
Now let's just quickly answer some of the questions in the comments. Anthony's saying he didn't understand how Nia's mum understood that she needed the costume. Well, they met in that dream sequence, and she understood then that Nia was the one that had the powers, but then she basically died straight away after that dream. So maybe she had an earlier dream, a prophetic earlier dream that gave her some knowledge of that she reacted or acted on, or maybe the costume was there all along, and it was the father who had the dream that the mother came to him in his dream and said, the costume is in the cupboard, go give it to Nia.
Yeah. That was a little unclear. I mean, I guess it was just one of those things they wanted you to roll with.
Yeah.
I was not surprised that Kara outed herself to Nia, because we can only have a certain number of people that don't know in the cast, and I think Nia not knowing was kind of throwing off that balance. Being sarcastic, and it's not really coming through. But no, the thing that I liked about that is that, as most of these episodes do, the writers try to work things in on a number of fronts. So the thing that Alex and Kara are going through is kind of mirrored by the things Nia and her sister are going through. And there's reasons to be... This is going to sound weird, but hopefully people will hear me out before they start rage commenting. There are reasons to be kind of upset with Nia about her not telling her sister and her family what was going on.
Sure.
They made a point of mentioning that her sister had basically done all this dream training. Like, she's basically working with Nancy from the Nightmare on Elm Street films. And, so she would have seen what the portents of the dream that she had about her mother, that Nia had about her mother represented. So I can see being upset about that, but it seemed really super petty. Especially living with I could see being jealous. I could see, you've been waiting for this all your life and you thought something was wrong with you. But it was just, like, of all the things to be mad about, that seemed to be like the worst thing. I mean, I kind of understand why they did it, because they wanted that moment where she said, you're not even a girl, basically. Which the mother got, but she hasn't. And I'm sure at some point there's going to be a resolution to this, because the last thing we need is Maeve to become like a supervillain in the show. But
I could understand someone who had dedicated their whole life in preparation for something to have it not end up in their lap and given to somebody else who they didn't feel deserved it necessarily. Could be, especially in a moment of anger, where your mum's just died, and the world and your town's just got ripped apart. So I could understand having, a knee-jerk reaction, and then later on going, I didn't mean that. I was angry, and I shouldn't have said what I said. But I could understand why that stood out to you.
But no, the season is continuing on in a very kind of similar to last season, where I thought the story was strong pretty much throughout the season. I think they're a little more compelling this time out. With the different aspects of, Kara being on the outs with everybody at this point. It kind of makes me wonder, what else are they going to take away from her in the course of the season? Is she eventually going to have to leave Catco? And I guess we would be kind of remiss to not mention the fact that Jimmy's kind of doing some weird stuff. For Lena. But it's really good too at the same time.
It adds to the drama. Also, the Red Daughter aspect of this episode. We saw her training early in the beginning, and then she passed out having a nosebleed and was unconscious, and then they were trying to resuscitate her with paddles, and which I don't know if that would work on someone who was Kryptonian. But so some questions about that red energy or whatever it was that came out of her and ended up hitting the van that infused that energy into those drug tablets. Is that rage? Is that what she feels? Is that were other places hit? So are we going to get Freak of the Week kind of situations because of the lightning having struck different locations? Who knows?
Yeah, it would be kind of funny if they kind of fell back on kind of a Smallville,
aspect
like
to it.
setup formula. That's the word I'm looking for.
Yeah.
But no, it's just they continue to do interesting things. Next week's episode looks interesting as well.
It's not even next week. It's a couple of weeks away because
Yeah.
they've got a break for Super Bowl and something else the week after that.
Are you saying that people would rather watch the Super Bowl than Supergirl?
Well, I guess
How
they realise that they're
dare
going to miss
you,
out
sir.
on a number of people in the audience if they air it on the same night.
More than likely,
Just for the commercials,
Man, I'm
mind
not-
you. At
I'm not gonna
halftime.
have anything to do next Sunday.
Watch the commercials at the halftime break.
Yeah, I'm not gonna watch a football game to watch commercials that are gonna be on YouTube the next day, right? So.
True. Now, in the comments, Anthony's asking if Red Daughter passed out, why didn't Supergirl pass out? Well, they're not in sync. They're just totally two different people. We don't even know what Red Daughter's origins are. We don't know anything much about. I mean, Kara doesn't know anything about it, so I don't think there's any kind of correlation between what one is feeling and what's happening to the other.
Yeah, because I assumed that she was some kind of temporal clone from the whole thing that happened at the end of last season. But if that's not the case, then what is she? And again, I kind of want them to wrap this up and have it be satisfying sooner rather than later, because I really don't think this is something you can stretch out an entire season. I don't think the audience is there for that anymore.
No. All right, well, let's take a quick break, and then on the flip side, we'll play the promo for that upcoming episode of Supergirl, which will air on February 17th. So back right after these messages.
We'll be back in a moment with the exciting climax of today's episode. So stand by.
Look, up in the sky.
It's a bird.
It's a plane. No, it's SupermanHomepage.com, the #1 Superman fan site in the world. SupermanHomepage.com, covering the world of Superman from the 1930s to today. News, reviews, rumors, and reports. SupermanHomepage.com for all your Superman comics, TV shows, movies, cartoons, radio shows, and more. Everything you ever wanted to know about the Man of Steel and more. SupermanHomepage.com.
Thanks, Superman Homepage, for all the support over the years. I really appreciate it.
I'm Matt Balmer, the voice of Superman and Superman Unbound, and this is the Superman Homepage.
Right here on Superman Homepage.
When Lex Luthor unleashes his plan to destroy the world, you can be just like Superman. With a Superman Returns in Play-Doh suit, you can pretend to have all the muscles of the Man of Steel. Strap on the punch and crush gloves to hear the sound of every punch you throw and everything you crush. In Play-Doh suit accessory, you put it together, batteries not included, punch and crush gloves sold separately. And when trouble hits the skies, you'll be ready with a Fight and Fly FX cape with real flying sounds. This cape responds to every move you make, whether you turn left or right to save the day.
And we're back on WGBS TV Live. That Superman Returns costume bits and pieces were interesting. I've got the bendable crowbar, make noise and you bend it. It's really cool.
So, and nowadays you just do that with a regular crowbar, right?
Yeah,
after you're done your workout, just...
Not quite. Anyway, let's push on. As I said, the next Supergirl episode is titled Menagerie, and it begins the whole storyline of bringing together what we assume will be the Elite, with Manchester Black bringing in other characters to be part of his team, and Menagerie is the first of those. This episode won't air until February 17th, so we've got a 2-week break until the next episode of Supergirl, or 3 weeks depending on how you want to calculate it. But let's have a look at that promo for the upcoming episode of Supergirl right now. If I can find it. Here we go.
Your powers give you the potential to be a great hero. But
need to find whatever killed these people before we have a panic on our hands.
You're the only one who's brave enough to stand up for humanity.
I know it's my destiny to have these powers.
That was amazing!
Supergirl, all new Sunday, February 17th on the CW.
So there you have it. That's the upcoming episode, Menagerie, which will air, as I said, on Sunday, February 17th. And we see Nia in her Dreamer costume.
I like the fact that she has a costume. I'm still not like totally feeling the design, but it's kind of cool that they really like having other heroes on these shows, don't they? Like Arrow, is chock full of heroes. The Flash constantly is putting speedsters into costumes, so I guess it just makes sense to have that over here. So yeah, but I'm very glad that Nia is getting that kind of exposure. So I'm looking forward to it. I don't know why I didn't realize that it's going to be like 2 or 3 weeks until the next episode. That feels really weird to come back, do 2 episodes, and then be off for a couple more weeks.
Strange. And they don't really show too much there in that promo, but Menagerie is where we'll be introduced to the new character who will be known as Menagerie, that will be eventually brought in as part of Manchester Black's team. So we look forward to seeing how that plays out.
Yeah, sorry, in the things, Daniel asks, Menagerie, so are we going to see Christopher Pike in his wheelchair? That's it's a nice little Star Trek reference there, Daniel. Very good.
Very good. All right, did we talk about Jon Cryer last week? Did we show the photo?
I don't think we showed the photo last week. I don't remember us talking about it.
Okay, so this week they released the first look at Jon Cryer as Lex Luthor from an upcoming episode of Supergirl. Put that image up right now. So there we have Lex. The photo shows him with his arms folded, staring out of the door of his maximum security cell. It's got there on the left Lex Luthor, the maximum security. I think maximum security wouldn't necessarily have glass in their windows, would they? But in their doors. But nevertheless, bald-headed, unshaven. They're calling his version of Lex Epic, and he will first appear in an episode titled "Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?", which will air on March 17th.
He is a man of constant sorrows, so that does make a lot of sense. I'm just saying right now, if there is no scene of him shoving a Jolly Rancher in somebody's mouth, I'm going to be super disappointed in that.
Now, Lex reaches out from prison, we're told, to enlist Lena's help in getting involved in one of his plans, and he'll stop at nothing to get her on board, even if that means leveraging the life of one of her friends. I'm guessing that means James.
More than likely, I would assume so. I could see her maybe going to bat for Kara, but it's just like everybody else. She'd be like meh and walk away.
Now, Anthony's saying, who's running LexCorp if Lex is in jail? I think it's called L-Corp, and Lena took over it.
Yeah, at the beginning of Season 2, she renamed it L-Corp, and she's been running it, so, yeah.
Now, in an interview with Variety, executive producers Jessica Queller and Robert Rovner spoke about Lex and said that Jon Cryer is incredibly talented. His dramatization of Lex is grounded and emotional. And Queller says, in our estimation, he's the best Lex ever. Yes, we're biased, but he's the most masterful actor. He's just exhilarating as Lex. I can't overstate how thrilled we are with him.
I'm really looking forward to this. It's just, there is a long lineage of this character now. Between, I don't know if I'd throw Lyle Talbot onto it. I mean, he was the first live-action Lex, technically.
Mm-hmm. In the
but, in the serial. But, you have Gene Hackman, you have John Shea, Sherman Howard, Michael Rosenbaum. I mean, these are people that, especially Rosenbaum, I would say, kind of defined the character.
Yeah, 100%.
For an entire generation of fans, that was Lex Luthor. So to have Jon Cryer, who, to be fair, he spent a good bit of the last decade on 2.5 Men, which I've only caught bits and pieces of. It's just not my thing.
Sure.
But, he's had other roles. He wasn't just Lenny Luthor in Superman 4 and Ducky in what was that movie called? Pretty in Pink. I mean, I keep going to a movie called Hiding Out, where he plays an investment banker that pretends to be a high school student, which was I liked the movie, but at the very beginning of the movie, he's like got a full beard and longer hair, and he's an adult. So I think the guy has got some serious range, and I think casting him is, he's a name, because he has the Superman connection.
Yes.
But I think this is one of those things where it's going to come out, and you're always going to have your detractors, but I am dead certain that it's going to just blow me away.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what he does with the role. And Daniel in the comments says, speaking of Jon Cryer, over the weekend he listened to your audio commentary of Superman 4, Michael.
Oh man, I recorded that. It was like almost 6 years ago that I recorded that.
Wow.
But I years ago a friend tagged me with a nickname, the Superman apologist. That I will. But after doing the Superman 4 commentary, I had another friend say that takes me to another level, that I spent 90 minutes defending that movie, and I'll still do it, because I still enjoy that movie.
Yeah, there you go. And speaking of images that have been posted online, Cameron Cuff gave us a description, or his description, of what Lobo will be like in Season 2 of Krypton, along with this recently released image of actor, what's his name? Emmett J. Scanlon as Lobo. Sorry, I'm just trying to grab the image as I was looking there. That's the image that he posted, which we've seen recently, but he says, imagine, if you will, that the Joker and Wolverine had a baby, and they raised this baby on a steady diet of Bane's venom, glam metal, and murder. That's Lobo.
That's actually probably one of the most accurate descriptions, and I don't know if Cameron Cuff is aware of this. Lobo was created, his first appearance was a Mega Men #3. He was created as a satire of Wolverine.
Uh-huh.
And then in the 90s, he just kind of, after the Lobo paramilitary Christmas special, he just kind of blew up in popularity. And Lobo was kind of, I like to say, he was like the Deadpool of the 90s.
Yeah.
Really, he was like the character that was everywhere, that had like all this light behind him, and then he was gone. Whereas Deadpool and Harley Quinn seem to be sticking around. So I guess the culture has changed.
Yeah, there you go. So we can't wait for Season 2 of Krypton. I'm not sure of an exact date yet. We know it will be in the first half of 2019 that it will air on Sci-Fi. And Season 1 will be on, or is on, the DC Universe digital streaming service. So looking forward to seeing where they take Krypton Season 2, because Season 1, I think, exceeded a lot of people's expectations. And, where will they go with Season 2, with Doomsday, with Zod, with Lobo, with so much of what they've got going? We'll have to wait and see. I think I've just lost Michael there quickly, but I'll try to bring him back on, and we will continue discussing the comic book side of things. Actually, you got your back there, Michael. Before we move on, outside of the TV side of things, speaking of DC Universe, the digital streaming service, Young Justice episodes 1 to 13 are now available on the DCU streaming service, so you can binge watch the first half of Season 3 of this animated series. And to promote this, they released a kind of promo video for the fact that all these episodes are available to watch right now.
I hereby tender my resignation to the Justice League.
So do I. Oh man, I hate being the grown-up.
You guys really on freaked out by how I look?
You picked the right crowd.
Young heroes like these can cause the seven of us no end of trouble. just like that, you're leading another team.
Please don't rub it in.
So there you have it. That's the promo video for the first 13 episodes of Young Justice Outsiders, and people are just raving about this animated series. I'm kind of bummed that I can't watch them.
I kind of dig the fact that they made Black Lightning look like Chris Williams from the TV show. He looks like a kind of a younger version of that. So that was a nice touch. John in the chat asks if we're ever going to see Lionel Luthor. We already kind of did back in the second season on Supergirl. Yeah. We already kind of did back in the second season. He was bald, so it was just, I guess they were trying to kind of go away from the Smallville thing, but. I'm still kind of pulling for the fact that at some point from an alternate Earth they pull in John Glover, but I'm sure he'd be more than willing to step back into the role given his Twitter presence.
Indeed. And I think it's he, Tom, and Michael are getting together again at a Cleveland convention soon, so they're very much still invested in those roles and are happy to celebrate being part of that world.
Yeah, but yes, I hopefully within the next couple of weeks we'll be getting the DC app proper. Unless, of course, DC Entertainment, I will shill for you mercilessly if you want to offer that up for free. I can be bought very easily. I'm just saying.
There you go. Alright, let's shift focus and move to the comic book side of the world of Superman. And this week we have a number of cool comic books coming out, so let's just have a quick look at the covers for those as we go along. We have Action Comics 1007 out this week, and that's a pretty cool cover there. A shirt rip. You can never get enough shirt rips.
No, not me. I'm totally looking forward to that. That's a great cover, and of course it's got Lois on it, so I'm really happy.
Yeah, and we've also got a variant cover, which is very patriotic there, with a tip of the hat to the American flag, the stars and stripes, or clouds and stripes, if you like, in that image. We also have Heroes in Crisis number 5, which features a very prominent image of Superman on the cover there, and that is also available in a variant cover which features a snapshot of the Jason Todd murder, which is part of the themes that they've been doing with these variant covers for Heroes in Crisis. And also out this week is Justice League Annual number 1, which I'm not sure why it's an annual, because it pretty much is just a larger page count for the same storyline that's been continuing in the regular Justice League titles of late. Annuals used to be something special. It used to be kind of a standalone kind of story that was a supersized issue. These days it's just a supersized issue of what's already been happening and a continuation of those stories.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious as to why, outside of the fact that it's, extra revenue, you get to sell another book, but it just seems like, I'm kind of with you, it used to be that the annual would be like the kickoff of a storyline, or, the creation of a new character. In the 90s, for a couple years there, the annuals were where the crossovers took place. And then things got kind of silly. I don't think I'll ever quite get over Legends of the Dead Earth as a concept. But it seems like now, I don't know if they're as special. So I'm kind of wondering why they're continuing to do them, outside of the fact that it's an extra $5 that they can get.
Yeah, very true. And Brad's asking, is this the issue where, as far as Action Comics 1007 is concerned, where Amanda Waller finds out about Clark Kent Superman? It may be. I'll just say
it's either this one or the next one. I think this. I honestly think as much fun as Superman is as a title, it's action packed. The story's got my attention. Now we're really getting into, like Jor-El's crazy and something needs to be done about this. Action is where the story is. Action, and I think if Bendis does it right, he will kind of, I think he's in a position to kind of shoot Superman back to a preeminent place in the DC universe, which he hasn't had in a really long time. I mean, when you look back at like most of the major crossovers from the past decade, Superman's not really been a part of them, or if he is, he's been in the background. But if you look at like Flashpoint, it was another kind of version of the character, and Forever Evil, he was completely taken out of it. Blackest Night, yeah, he had like a 3-issue, like miniseries, but he wasn't, that was a Green Lantern story. So I'm kind of hoping that with Bendis kind of positioning him at the center of the, the alphabet groups of the DC universe, the DEO and all that, that maybe it'll put him back in a kind of a prestige.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Now, DC Comics also this week announced that for Free Comic Book Day, which will take place on May 7th, May 4th, Star Wars Day. May 4th, Saturday, May 4th, Free Comic Book Day, they'll be offering or showcasing a number of their DC Ink and DC Zoom imprints. And on the DC Zoom side of things, I believe it is, Dear Justice League, an original graphic novel for middle graders, will be available. I'm just getting the cover there, from best-selling author Michael Northrop and artist Gustavo Duarte. It's slated to hit stores later in August, but the early Free Comic Book Day special edition will feature 2 stories from that graphic novel, including Superman and Hawkgirl. So 2 stories, one for Superman, one for Hawkgirl.
Oh, that's really awesome. I'm kind of fascinated by this book. When we talked about it a couple of weeks ago, it really seemed like something that was interesting. So I'm kind of interested to see where that's actually going to go, and is it going to be one of those things where adults can enjoy it as well as kids?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying that's like a deal breaker for me, but I'd be kind of interested to see if that's the case.
We'll have to wait and see. Well, we have time if you want to try to, I don't know, I haven't really given you much notice to do a This Week in History kind of thing. Are you able to
I can fake
wing
it. I can fake it.
Okay,
yeah.
Well, let me jump through, give you a bit of extra time by playing the intro for that right now.
Come with me now, my son, as we break through the bars of your earthly confinement, traveling through time.
Alrighty, thank you, sorry. I'm stepping all over Marlon Brando. I am a terrible actor. In 1939, there really wasn't much going on, but in 1949, World's Finest Comics, number 39, came out with Superman and Batman on the cover. Then, in 1959, if my computer will run fast enough, right there at the end of the month, God, I can't believe January is over already. You have Action Comics number 250 and Adventure Comics number 258, which of course had a Superboy story in it. Let's jump to the end of the 60s, which is kind of still a precarious time for American history. We have Action Comics number 374, which has this awesome Neil Adams cover of Superman wanted, dead or alive. Neil Adams was drawing a lot more covers at that point, and sometimes they were more interesting than the story inside the book, in my opinion. Nothing really going on in 1979. You got Superboy and Legion of Superheroes number 250, and Superman number 334 came out around this time. Let's jump forward. Oh, God, 30... Is 1989 really 30 years ago, Steve?
Oh, tell me about it.
Does it have to be?
That was the year I left high school, so that's scary.
But we do have Adventures of Superman number 452, which was part of the Exile storyline, and more importantly to Superman fans, that was really where Dan Jurgens started drawing the title for the first time. In 1999, we were hit deep in the Superman Rex storyline, where he starts trying to do more and more in the world. So you had Superman the Man of Steel number 87 coming out in the last week. You also had the very first issue of Superman's nemesis Lex Luthor number 1 came out, which was a miniseries. Yeah. And yeah, this is always where the time where we can actually probably go back and look at the reviews for it on the homepage in the things. And an issue of Supergirl. And then in 2009, this was right in the midst of the whole Superman New Krypton storyline. So you had Superman number 684, which was part of the Faces of Evil storyline going on. Trinity. Anybody remember Trinity? Does anybody want to remember Trinity? Number 35, and the Superman Kryptonite Nevermore hardcover came out. And in the real world, because we always kind of like to mention real world stuff, because you have it so conveniently at the Superman homepage. And if it sounds like I'm vamping, it's because I am. In this week, looking at the calendar, again, if the website would cooperate, which would be fantastic. We have, wow, you really just blew right by that, didn't you? Let's see, where it...
Can help you out if you want.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, today, January 29th, is Justin Hartley's birthday. He played Oliver Queen in Smallville. Tomorrow, January 30th, is Gene Hackman's birthday. He was born way back in 1930, so he's really getting up there in age. Obviously he played Lex Luthor in the Christopher Reeve Superman films. Then on February 1st, a couple of days away, Stuart Whitman, who played Jonathan Kent in the Superboy TV series. He was born on February 1st in 1928, so he's even older. Is he still alive?
I have no idea.
Then,
keep talking.
February 3rd, The Adventures of Superman made its debut on TV in 1953. Wow, that is an anniversary. I don't think any of us were there around then to watch that happen on that particular day. But that is pretty much it for this week in as far as birthdays and anniversaries are concerned on the real life calendar. So that pretty much brings us to the end of tonight's episode. I know you're doing a little bit of research there.
Stuart Whitman is still alive.
Wow. There you go. So he's still with us. And that, as I said, pretty much brings us to the end of tonight's episode. Before we do sign off, I'd like to thank everyone who was watching tonight's live WGBS TV broadcast. Really appreciate you being part of the show. Everyone in the comments and the chat there, appreciate you being part of the show. And a big thank you to you, my co-host Michael Bailey. Thanks, Mike.
Pleasure as always.
And a big thank you to our sponsor and patron, Douglas Meacham. And remember, if you want to sponsor the Superman homepage, please head to patreon.com/Superman homepage, where you too can be a sponsor of the website for as little as $3. Now, the complete 1 hour video of tonight's show will remain available on the Superman homepage website and our Facebook page if you'd like to watch it back or perhaps miss part of the show. And if you're wondering why I'm wearing this t-shirt today, being another event of this that happened this week, Australia Day was on January 26th, so I thought it was appropriate that I wear the Australian flag shield of the Superman emblem. But that is it for tonight's show. We'll be back next Tuesday, February 5th, at 7:30pm Pacific Standard Time for another edition of WGBS TV Live. Look forward to talking with you then. Until then, be sure to check out supermanhomepage.com for all your daily news updates on everything surrounding the Man of Steel. I'm Steve Eunice on behalf of myself and Michael Bailey. Thanks for watching WGBS TV Live, brought to you by supermanhomepage.com.